Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
When I speak to foreign leaders, I speak in an appropriate way. If you notice, they don't mention the call that I had with the president of Ukraine. They don't mention that because it was so good. The only time they mentioned it was when Adam Schiff made it up.
No, Trump needs to stop answering every question that somebody asks. He just does. He needs to stop it. And if he's going to answer questions, they need to be quick, succinct, and always talk about that one thing. What is that one thing? You know, in life, people give you roadmaps to success, right? They do. They give you roadmaps to success, how you get certain places. You ask successful people, most of them, no matter how successful they are, they will take time to tell you, this is what I did. This is how I got there. And they'll give you roadmaps. It's not hard. Bill Clinton has given Donald Trump a roadmap how to survive impeachment. Now, as bad as it was for Bill, I think this is worth, because I think the crush of bipartisanship and the insanity is very real in a way that is different, not just on, you know, the impeachment side, but how Bill dealt with things. And I'll tell you why. But still, this is the roadmap that you need to follow. Talk about what you're doing for the country. That's it. It's simple. Just talk about what you're doing for the country. There's nothing else that you need to do. Nothing else. Talk about what you're doing for the country. Right? Compartmentalize. I'm moving this over here. I'm going to have people set up. We're going to get our plan together. We're all going to be succinct. We're going to move in the same direction. And then out here, I'm working for you. I'm working. Don't worry about that, right? You know, kids come to you and they're worried about something. And what do you say? You know, don't worry about this. No big deal. It's no big, you know, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. That's it. I'm working for the people. We got stuff that needs to get done. I'm working for the people, right? That's a political thing going on. I'm working for you. That's what Bill Clinton did. Remember at the end of that press conference? Now, if you guys don't mind, I have to go get back to the work for the people. That's what you do. It's a roadmap to success, right? Yesterday's in Florida, he's talking about Medicare. Going out there. This is what we're doing. We're going to keep Medicare solved. We're going to do the things that we need to do. We're not going to allow it to get clogged up. This is where we're going. We're working on transparency for health across the board. Working getting the prescription prices down. I'm still working at the border. It's a battle. We always knew it was going to be a battle, but we're going to take it head on. We're going to do everything we can. Get out there. Talk about the economy. Jobs, 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 jobs. Like he did today.
The unemployment numbers just came out, and they're the best numbers we've had in over 50 years.
Jobs, jobs, jobs. 50 years. Last time we had unemployment this low, we put a man on the moon. We were moving in the right direction. We're holding steady. We're moving in the direction that we need to be moving. We're heading into the fourth quarter. This is where we're going. This is what's going to happen. There's no recession right now on the horizon. We've got to be smart. We've got to go hard at this. We've got to keep the country moving forward, and we got to be together on this. I'm working for you. Continue to do those kind of things. That's what you have to do. You have to do that. And then send other people out there to fight the battles that you need fought. Lay off Twitter for a little bit in a way that you don't have to attack everybody who attacks you, right? Let them think for a while. I wonder what he's doing. Not saying a lot. I wonder what he's doing. Get all of your ducks in a row. Have a succinct message. Don't send 4 people out that all say 4 different things. That's not good. Give short answers, and the long answers you give, let it be about the people. Mr. President, what do you think about Nancy and them? They've got to do their job. They think they've been coming after me for a long time, but that's another thing. Let's talk about how we move forward when it comes to getting these prescription prices down. Let's talk about that. because we need to. We need more transparency. Make it so it frustrates even the press because you're not your normal self. Don't give them more to go with. Focus on the people. Focus hard on the people. Say, I went to Nancy. I had a huge opportunity here, and I think they did too, to get some stuff done with infrastructure. That's what we'd like to do. Make it even look like if they're not going to do any of the things that you want done, that at least you could say, look, I tried to get infrastructure done. I wanted to get into the conversation when it comes to background checks and guns. I wanted to do this. Do it so the roadmap is painted for you. Do it so you're working for the people. Right? Not for the Democrats, not for the Republicans, not for yourself, but for the people. It's simple and easy. It's simple and easy. Will he follow it? No, because he's a loose cannon. Right? And which is why people like him. Right? Which is why people like him. But people like that always have a shelf life. Chaos, craziness, always. Right? At some point in time, no matter how talented, no matter how good they are, at least in the situation that they're in, when it pertains to you and I, it burns out and we move on. But if I'm him, that's what I'm doing. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. So last night, AOC, who's also, again, in a battle with Trump, called her crazy, the usual. Trump did. Again, this is the stuff. Yeah, you can pick a fight with your shadow. Stop it. And at the same time, she came back and she goes, well, I'd rather be crazy than, a criminal. But so she's having a town hall, and I applaud her for that because I'll be honest, I talk to a lot of senators and a lot of Congress people, and they're not big fans of town halls, especially if they're, they feel like it could get ugly. This got ugly in a way that is so bizarre. I want you guys to listen to somebody who's asking a question about climate change.
We only have a few months left. I love that you support the Green Deal, but, getting rid of fossil fuel is not going to solve the problem fast enough. A Swedish professor saying we can eat dead people, but that's not fast enough. I think your next campaign slogan has to be this. We got to start eating babies. Even if we would bomb Russia, we still have too many people, too much pollution. We need to eat the baby. We need to eat the babies.
She had a shirt, by the way, too. And she was dead serious. And I'm like, this has to be a plant. But I mean, we'll find out, I'm sure, who she is. But we need to eat the babies. Right? And yes, the professor did say cannibalism may be where we're headed because of what's going on with climate change. And then, she also talked about bombing Russia. And that was just thrown out there. And, I'm like, what? But hold on a second. Here's what AOC says. So if somebody comes up to me, if I'm in the middle of an interview and somebody says, what we really need to do is we need to eat all of the babies. And I would check them right there. I'm like, are you joking? No, I'm serious. Then you need to go. We're not having a conversation here. We're not eating babies. You're insane. You're insane. That's not
one of the things that's very important to us is that.
Now, remember, she's answering the question as if it's a real question without saying, OK, that's enough.
One of the things that's very important to us is that we need to treat the climate crisis with the urgency that it does present. Luckily, we have more than a few months. We do need to hit net zero in several years. But I think we all need to understand that there are a lot of solutions that we have that we can pursue, and that if we act in a positive way, there's space for hope. We are never beyond hope.
You don't answer that question with a question like that. You say, you know what, I appreciate your fear, but that's a crazy thing to do. And she came out and she says nobody should make fun of this lady. She's mentally ill. She needs help, probably. But this is that crazy I was reading the other day about eco-anxiety. Eco-anxiety. People are freaking out, and it's real, that the world is coming to an end. She thinks it's months. Some people say it's years. Some people say, well, we'll be around, but it's not going to be very good. I mean, Andrew Yang says we've already passed that point of no return. So there is no coming back from this as far as restoring it. I always ask the question, though. And it's a very, very, I think it's a fair question. So what is the optimal temperature for the planet? What would be, like, what is the optimal perfect temperature for said planet? Just curious. Get a lot of different answers. But that right there, let me tell you guys what is not the solution to the climate crisis, the climate hoax, the climate itself. Eating children is not any solution to anything ever. Okay? I want to point that out. Just in case people didn't understand. She did say it. And by the way, hashtag eat the children, hashtag eat the babies is trending. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. Today is National Taco Day. We love our tacos here on the Chad Benson Show. You guys love tacos. You can score some free tacos in a lot of places locally across the country. Places like Del Taco, right? So all you have to do is join their Raving Fan E-Club or download the Del Taco app. And you get a free shake on your birthday, but, you get yourself a free taco. Tijuana Flats, right? So you can get some sort of, tacos and chips for something cheap, and they throw stuff in there. You've got Taco Bell's kind of doing something. Burger King, I guess, is doing it. They've got, no. Baja Fresh, 2 for the price of 1. You buy 1, you get another one for free. It's just, so I love tacos. We're going to eat tacos. We do. Not babies, but tacos. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. It's your Twitter. I don't know how anybody could just look at that person and not just say, okay, you need to leave. Somebody needs to get her out of here, right? And just move on with yourself, right? That is, at no point in time is that acceptable, right? Call her crazy. Just ask her to leave. But don't answer her question with, oh, yeah, I share your concerns. Car Shield, baby. I drive a lot this weekend. So tonight, driving, going down to see Jack. It's a quick turnaround. I'll do about 800 miles or so in the next 2.5 days. I don't worry about it. Got the oil change, feel good, drive my car, but it's the what if, right? It's that thing that you don't see. You do all you can for your car. Cars are staying on the road, and you don't want to take out a loan. Do you see 7 years is the average loan now as people are heading to when it comes to their car? You don't want that, right? But you do want the security of the what if, right? Because you don't have a warranty with your car. That's what Car Shield comes in. 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop. The shop is the shop that you choose. You pay a deductible, they get them paid the rest. You take it to your dealership, they get it done. $2 billion in claims is what Car Shield's paid out. They're ready to help you. Right now, use my code Benson. You call 800-CAR-6000. You mention code Benson, saves you 10% right there. That's carshield.com, code Benson, or call 800-CAR-6000, 800-CAR-6000. Mention code Benson, save you 10%. A deductible may apply. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Take a fake news break. Check out the really important news of the day at our website, ChadBensonShow.com. Once there, click on Chad's free podcast and get real. The Chad Benson Show, where truth and the American way live. Print free.
They basically have to apply. They are part of a class action suit, or various claimants who are part of attorneys' suits against MGM Resorts. Now, it started in such a weird way because obviously many people thought that MGM and its hotel, the Mandalay Bay, would be liable since Stephen Paddock, the shooter, brought in 10 high-powered rifles, thousands of rounds of ammunition right through the front door of the hotel. Past a sign, I might add, that says no firearms allowed.
What? But it had a sign. It's really weird. So it's about $800 million is what the insurance is going to pay. Mandalay Bay may have to kick in some, and MGM as well. I still find it odd that somebody came and stayed in your facility, then committed a crime that was heinous and vile, 58 dead, hundreds wounded, And then the psychological scars to the 20,000 people or so that were there for the Route 91 concert. I find it weird because, we were just talking about it. So if somebody dies in your hotel, they just dies, they fall asleep and they don't wake up. They party too hard and they die in there. Or somebody, something happens and somebody gets, it's an odd thing. Like, were they supposed to not know what it's about? Now, the question is, how do people get money? So what happens? MGM sued all of the people, essentially, that were going to file lawsuits because they didn't want thousands upon thousands of lawsuits. They wanted a singular suit that they could settle, put the money somewhere, people come in and file. And then they would get money based on a mathematic formula, which sounds kind of sterile.
This is a very difficult formula. They actually are going with a third-party administrator to assign the specific value for each particular claimant. But basically, the $800 million is a big ballpark figure that was reached by the members of the class who were suing MGM and MGM Resorts that said, this is how much our insurers and we think that we can give up and make everybody feel whole.
Yeah. So, and you're not going to feel whole, but how they're essentially going to do it, they're going to look at you and say, okay, so-and-so was 33, was an attorney, was making this much money, had this many years left. Based on what we think that person's earning potential was, this is what you get. Such and such over here was 57, was a, part-time, librarian, and based on how long they were going to work, this is what they're going to get. It's very sterile, but that's kind of what they're looking at. It's kind of the way insurance does it, right? Like your finger is only worth so much. You're not getting the same amount for your finger as you would if you lost a leg or an arm. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at me. The hug and forgiveness seen around the world, yet people are still complaining about that. More on eating the babies and, yes, some Trump and impeachment stuff. Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Although the top line number is actually not a great number, when we look underneath the surface, we do see some good things. And I actually think the market thinks this is an okay number.
Yeah. Jobs, economic outlook isn't the greatest, but it's holding steady. I mean, we've been growing for a long time. It's one of those things. We've been doing it like people that if you really want to lose weight and you want to keep it off for real, this is what you do, right? You lose it a little bit at a time. We gained a little bit at a time. Last month, we're at a point where could it possibly get lower unemployment? I guess it could. We're at a 50-year low. We grew. The jobs are about where they thought. And the marketplace is, it's holding steady. So there's some things out there. Manufacturing definitely has some issues, and there's a lot that goes into that. Not just the trade war, but that absolutely plays a part. Plus, we've got the dollar that is extremely strong. So it's hard to manufacture things, especially for other countries, when they can't afford to buy your stuff. So that's also something. Interest rates, it'll be interesting to see. But, if I'm Trump again, right, you can come out and you can be Trump that you've been before, which is all he knows how to do. Right? Or you can say, I've got to pivot a little bit. I've got to pivot just enough so I can start focusing on doing the work of the people, because he knows the House, there's enough in there to impeach him right now. He said so. So now it's time to focus on, let me get to the point where I'm doing so much and whether you are or aren't, the appearance is you're busting your ass for the people. And in doing so, to impeach you would be ridiculous at this point in time because there's just no will of the people and want of the people to get it done.
When I speak to foreign leaders, I speak in an appropriate way. If you notice, they don't mention the call that I had with the president of Ukraine. They don't mention that because it was so good. The only time they mentioned it was when Adam Schiff made it up.
You know, or you can go out and answer every question and say certain things that make you and make people go, what are you talking about? Right? What are you doing? Right? This is nuts. Stop it. Follow the plan that Clinton gave you. He didn't give it to you. He gave it to everybody who may be in this situation. Remember, look, since he was elected, and I'm not even talking about sworn in, since the night he became president, he got the phone call from Hillary. She's like, hi. He's like, I won. Since that happened, impeachment has been there. The prosecution has been there. The actual judgment as far as the Democrats concerned have been there. Now, all we have to do is go find the crime so we can fit it in this. That's all we're missing, is the cherry on top. Is this it? It's possible. Let the evidence come out. But in the end, it's all about politics and what happens politically. Is Trump, does it get to the point where it's just so much? He's at the point where he's starting to see. Romney came out and hammered him again today. But when you start to see one or two people who have that political cachet, they have that political strength, they're known, and they're not never Trumpers. They've been on Trump's side, but they find this uncomfortable and disturbing. If that starts to happen, then you see. But with the economy the way it is, and if Trump just comes out and follows the easy script of I'm here for the people, I'm working for the people, that's happening over there, that's D.C., I'm out of D.C., I'm working for the people, I'm going out, I'm stumping, I'm doing it, I'm doing all I can to try and get everything I can done for the people. Infrastructure, Medicare, making sure that that you know, we've got a situation where we're looking at transparency when it comes to health care. All of those things, trying to fix the what's going on at the border, doing things like that, trying to get stuff done and show the people, this is what I'm doing for you. This is what I'm doing. I'm out here with you. They're back there. They've got a verdict already. They just need the crime. Let it be that politics versus what I'm doing for you. I don't know if he'll do it, though. I'm going to go out on a limb. Say he may not do it. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. So we were talking earlier about Eat the Babies. And I said, that's got to be a plant. It's just got to be a plant. If you guys didn't hear.
Climate crisis. We only have a few months left. I love that you support the Green Deal, but it's not getting rid of fossil fuel. It's not going to solve the problem fast enough. A Swedish professor saying we can eat dead people, but that's not fast enough. So I think your next campaign slogan has to be this: we got to start eating babies.
She also said something about bombing Russia. It was just the reaction of, even if it was a plant, that you answer a question and nobody in the audience says, there's some groans a little bit later, but it's just, I'm like, there's no way that could be real. Now, the Swedish professor thing, that is real. That is real. But I'm like, there's no way. So some outlets are reporting it is somebody who's mentally unstable and is a plant. Other people are saying it's Trump people. Either way, it's not a way to win an argument. And if it is a plant, whoever planted it, that's clown, right? Is that today's new world, producer Phil? Is that the new Bob? Is it Baba Booey? Is that what you say?
That must be it.
Baba Booey, Baba Booey, Baba Booey. So maybe that's just it now in politics. We just plant people in places and have them ask bizarre, weird questions. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. So Amber Geiger was found guilty of murder. And it was a case where you had a woman who was white, who was a police officer, who went to the wrong apartment, the apartment directly above hers, because she contended it was my apartment. And she killed a man, both on Jean, who was black, who was sitting there eating ice cream, watching Netflix. She said it was dark. He was coming towards her. Didn't know. She panicked. She was on the phone. It was a long day. People had made mistakes before about going into the apartment, the wrong apartment, because it all looks the exact same. You park on a certain level, and that all looks the exact same. She got confused. And people have come out, and because his brother, on the day of, said, I don't want you to go to jail. It's not even what I want for you. I forgive you. And then you got a hug. Everybody was crying. Right? Then the judge hugged her because she was crying. And they sentenced her to 10 years in jail. And watching people and the reaction of it, because some people were really, 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 really pissed.
We agreed with the district attorney that it should have been on the upper end of the spectrum, that the sentence should have been closer to 28 years than 10 years. That would be closer to justice, but that is a whole separate conversation from the spiritual release of forgiveness.
Yeah, and some people were upset, about his brother, Brand, hugging her and saying that. And I was trying to explain to people that this he didn't want this on him, right? He didn't want this guilt. He didn't want any of this stuff. He didn't want this hatred. That's a prison in itself. To look over at somebody who killed your brother and to say, I forgive you. Like that was for him. And it's funny because so many people were upset about the sentencing, of course, because they thought it should have been longer. This became a very race-based thing.
This is what you have to do to set yourself free. I didn't really plan on living the rest of my life, hating this woman. I know that there's something called peace of mind, and that's the type of stuff you need to do to have peace of mind.
Yeah. And that's what it was. So the jurors are finally speaking in this case. And again, it was a very contentious case. It was a very bizarre case because they didn't have a relationship. They didn't know each other. This wasn't one of these things where it was they were fighting, and there was something going on between them, whether it was any kind of love relation. It was none of that stuff. By all accounts, it seemed to be a mistake.
I told everyone, I was like, I'm really having a hard time with this because we all agree that it was a mistake.
Yeah, but murder is what it was about. And I watched a ton of the case. I watched a lot of the case. And I said, to me, right, and I listened to more than I watched, which I always think is very interesting when you listen to stuff as opposed to watching it in some ways, because I think you get a certain sense of reality in your mind as far as is somebody acting, is somebody playing the part where and because the TVs are behind me, I listened to a lot of it and I thought to myself, I just felt like she didn't wake up and say, I'm going to go do this. She didn't do it. This was a mistake. And then she lied and panicked.
Felt like they were asking us to take an eye for an eye for both of them. And I feel like he isn't someone who would take an eye for an eye. He would turn the other cheek.
Yeah. And based on his brother, I think that's it. Right? And then, of course, there's the sentencing. She could have got 5 years to 99 years. Prosecution asked for somewhere kind of in between.
They asked for 28 years, and I'm going to be honest and true. I was like, I can't give her 28 years.
Yeah. Can't give her 28 years. It was a tough decision. It is, but it shows you how the humanity of also what you deal with. These aren't robots that are jurors; they're humans, and they're trying to make a decision on what to do. And I think they made the best decision that they thought they could based on the parameters that they had. And the sentencing, was it fair? I mean, she's going to probably spend the next 5 to 6 years in prison. She got 10 years. Somebody lost their life, an innocent person who did nothing wrong. Somebody will have to pay for that mistake for the rest of her life. And I think for a lot of people, especially when you hear the family spokesperson and some of the attorneys, it felt like they were retrying every case where a person of color was killed by a cop and that this was for them. When no, this was a mistake. She wasn't on duty. She didn't pull him over. She didn't know him. It was, by all accounts, even the jurors say, they all agree it was a mistake. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. I can't believe that anybody, the plant thing is so cheesy. When you go and plant somebody at some place to have them ask stupid questions, and it's so sophomoric. You know what would be even scarier, though, is the fact that if that was real, right? And this goes back to, can we believe anything we see anymore? Can we believe anything we see anymore on television, on the internet, what you read? It's such a hard thing to do, because there are people out there who genuinely believe certain things like that. Like I said, that professor said that, cannibalism is something that we might have to resort to in the future because of climate change. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. It's your Twitter. Hey, if you listen to my show for a long time, you know that I take Super Beets. Right? Beets are amazing for you, for your heart health, for your circulation, for your blood pressure. But the convenience of what they have now, which are soft chews, is amazing. So normally Super Beets, and I take it at home, and I'm going to be traveling this weekend, so I'll take my soft chews with me, and I'll need it because I drive a lot. You put it, scoop right in, you put water, you mix it up, and, do the hokey pokey, and you do your thing. These are great. You just unwrap them, take them. They're like, little gummy things, and boom, away you go. And it gives me all of the potent heart health benefits of Super Beets, but it's just some soft chews. It's amazing. Grapeseed extract is the new breakthrough ingredient, supports normal blood pressure, circulation, and natural energy in the body. You're going to love that. It is great tasting. It's great for your blood pressure levels. It is so good, and it's so convenient, and I love convenience. Get your Super Beets now. These soft chews, hurry, order them today. They're not going to last long. When you buy 2 bags, they're going to throw a third one in for free. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Chad or call 800-875-9341. That's superbeetsradio.com/Chad. superbeetsradio.com/Chad or 800-875-9341. Chad Benson Show.
If you're part of the politically exhausted majority, don't fear. Your time to be validated and rejuvenated is here. Wake up. It's the Chad Benson Show.
What's so funny? One of the most anticipated and controversial movies of the year is in theaters this weekend, and Joker is expected to laugh all the way to the bank. Maybe set an October opening weekend record with more than $80 million. There have been some concerns about the film's violent content, possibly inspiring violence at screenings, and police departments across the country have said they would be extra vigilant, patrolling theaters and expanding into theaters across the country.
Everybody has their troubles.
It's the Judy Garland biopic Judy, starring Renee Zellweger.
Oh, who also kind of looks like the Joker in some of the things. The makeup's a little crazy. I understand what they're doing as far as painting the picture of this is what kind of society has become. An unloved, angry, sad person who decides to take revenge on the world. The hype about, you go, every place, people are going to get shot up, that stuff is, it's nuts. It is. That's our reactionary cuckoo-ness. People are like, it shouldn't even be released. I'm like, are you serious? I've read stuff that says it shouldn't even be released. What? Todd Phillips, the director, he's done comedies and stuff. He's just like, that's why I don't do comedies. That's why I don't do stuff anymore. Since this woke culture and world is ridiculous. It is. I will go see it, not this weekend, because I have Jack, and I do not believe this is a movie for a child to go see, because, it deals with a lot of dark, deep stuff. This isn't this isn't Michael Keaton, Danny DeVito, Jack Nicholson and them. It's not.
You just ask the same questions every week. How's your job? Are you having any negative thoughts? All I have are negative thoughts.
What? And of course, when he gets to go on stage.
Murray, one small thing.
Yeah.
When you bring me out, can you introduce me as Joker?
323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us. Maybe Trump should come out as the Joker. Text the program. Love hearing from you. It is the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
So Bernie Sanders' doctors have confirmed that he had a heart attack. I have to be honest with you, 78. If you're a voter, you're looking at him, you love Bernie. He's 78. 78 years young. 78 years young is what he wants you to believe. That's what he wants you to believe. He had a heart attack. That's tough, right? Age, maybe you overcome that. I think we've seen the way that is. Age with a potential health issue, that is a tougher road to hoe. I believe based on this, the field just got a lot thinner, and it is a two-person race. And right now, Elizabeth Warren is starting to pull away. Biden has got into the trenches, into a fight with Trump. But Bernie, who's raised a ton of cash, I don't think he's going anywhere, but he put a lot of doubts in people's minds who were looking at him and looking at Warren and looking at him and looking at Warren and saying, 78, that's a road too far right now with a heart issue. On top of that,
3 House committees investigating the president and the Ukraine phone call have subpoenaed the White House, escalating their standoff with the White House in their impeachment investigation.
Yeah, so away we head. It's not if, but when. I just want to tell everybody this, okay? I want everybody to get this out there. It is not if, but when. Trump is going to be impeached, and they're going to leave there's no other choice for them to do it. The difference is between what took place with Clinton and this will be a little bit more murky, but this will be 10 times more political than that thing ever could be, because we are going to participate in it in a way that we never have. We are. You, me, everybody. We're going to participate in it big time. Why? Because we have access to each other. We have access to yell at each other. We have access to spread fake news. We have access to things that we've never had before. And communication. You go back and look at what it was like back when they impeached. It was like we look back at how, the way that they used to look, the Pony Express. It's going to happen now. And the fight is going to be bigger than anything as far as between us. But it is going to happen. It's not if, but when. You know it. I know it. Trump knows it. In fact, Trump said, if you guys want anything from us, go ahead and vote. Vote to impeach me, and then come get your stuff. right? Come get your stuff. But, Trump is on a daily basis going out there. And if you listen to people talk about this whole thing, well, he didn't do anything, but he did. But then they get their money. They didn't get their money. All of this stuff. If you listen to it, here's the reality of it. At what point does somebody really flip on Trump that maybe was close? And at what point does Trump flip on somebody? Because you're seeing some stuff today where he's pushing back a little bit. He's trying to push away a little bit from some of those people. And the person, if I was him, I'm most worried about for two things. One, he don't keep his mouth shut. And that's Rudy Giuliani. He's your best and potentially your worst enemy. You know what finally got the Teflon Don? Right? You know what finally got him? His closest ally. And let me tell you something. You go back and you look at Sammy the Bull Gravano and all of those things and everything that went down in that mob-like world. Sammy wasn't going to roll ever. The feds and the cops said Sammy wasn't going to say a word. He wasn't going to say a word about all that was going on. But then he heard the tapes of them talking about Sammy knows too much. We got to get rid of him. The same things that he used to participate in. And that's when he said, well, I took it all to heart. I thought we were a team, the whole 9 yards. Fine. And I'm telling you, people are going to start to take each other down slowly but surely. And if you're Trump, you better figure out a way to push away from these people, but do it in such a way that you don't throw them under a bus where they know enough to hurt you. Realize you got to let's say, look, you got to figure something out because everybody's looking.
When I speak to foreign leaders, I speak in an appropriate way. If you notice, they don't mention the call that I had with the president of Ukraine. They don't mention that because it was so good. The only time they mentioned it was when Adam Schiff made it up.
And I think Schiff, somebody said that he needs to recuse himself, and I think he absolutely needs to recuse himself based on the fact that he's Adam Schiff and he's as shifty as it get. And if I'm Nancy, I go and I say, you know what? The way this thing looks and the fact that they came to you, but it's not like they came to somebody else. They came to you and your aide, and you say your aide didn't say anything. We all know there's just too much. If this is what you think we need to do, at some point in time, you may have to recuse yourself and step away. And people are asking that question, even amongst some of the pollsters and people I talk to on the Democratic side.
Chairman Schiff should be disqualified from running an investigation where his committee, members or staff, are fact witnesses about contact with the whistleblower and the whistleblower process.
Yeah, because all of this could be blown out of the water, right? Just like, it could be completely blown out of the water if you find out somewhere down the line, because as we all know, human beings like to talk, and you'll have to find out that maybe Schiff knew a lot more, and it wasn't just an aide, and he helped craft, and maybe you could say he put some stuff in there that shouldn't be. And it's so, yeah. You got to look at this and say to yourself, if you're in this situation and this is what you want, the best thing may be to step away. Put your hands up and say, you guys do what you do. I get where this is going. The best thing for me to do is to walk away from this and let you guys handle it. Because the vote's going to be there. And there's nothing you're going to be able to do about it. Right? Let somebody else sell the process. If that's what you really think that needs to be done and you think you've got him and you haven't done anything, let somebody else sell the process because you'll vote on it. You'll have enough votes, whether you are a big part of it or not. And at that point in time, there's nothing you can do. It goes to old Mitch McConnell here. Yeah, baby. And it's up to Mitch to see what Mitch is going to do. Will he? Won't he? He's raising a ton of money off this. By the way, boondoggle for all of them. Nancy's raising money. Mitch is out raising a ton of money saying, I am going to make sure there is no impeachment. Help support me so I can support the president. It is one of those things where They were like, can you believe this? All this low-hanging fruit that we have in front of us? This is amazing.
I have a lot of respect for Mitch McConnell. I know that I saw his statements, and he thinks that this is ridiculous. He thinks it's unfair.
So, well, they all do. Everybody thinks it's unfair on your side, except for a few. Other people on the other side, most of them say it's time to get rid of you, but they've been trying. Most of them have been trying to get rid of you for a while. So there's a lot to it, but it's happening. It's not if, but when. You know it. I know it. It's not if, but when. And can they get 67? Which I don't think they can. They're not going to get 20 Republicans to switch sides unless there's stuff that is so damning. That is just so, and it's the thing that you don't see that may get you. But it's political. That's all this is politics. It's no more. No more. No more than that. And when people say, well, he has high crimes and misdemeanor, I said, they've convicted him, right? They had a trial. They convicted him. They've sentenced him to no longer be president. Some of them want him to go to jail. Now all they need to do is find that crime of which they've done all this other work for. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Job numbers are out today. Still the best friend of the President of the United States will be the economy. That is still the best friend that the President will have. Whether it is in good times, bad times, turmoil, chaos, or just smooth sailing as far as the foreign affairs and the political side of things, the economy in and itself is your biggest enemy or your best friend.
Although the top line number is actually not a great number, when we look underneath the surface, we do see some good things. And I actually think the market thinks this is an okay number.
Yeah. So it wasn't, we're looking 50 years since we've been in this situation as far as jobs. And think about that. Soak that up for just 1 second. 50 years. That is a long time. We were putting a man on the moon. So for all the chaos and craziness, people still feel good. And I see people that they'll say, well, wages aren't up. Here's what's happening in the world of wages. And I try to explain this to people. I don't think sometimes they get it. Very few people I know get raises that are substantial. People are seeing their wages rise because they're going, I can go across the street. Where I'm at right now, we just stole away somebody and we're paying a ton more. One of my good friends who I've become really good friends with here, who was our traffic lady, today was her last day, and she loved being here, but she had an opportunity to expand her horizons because that was something she really wanted to do, and she's, and be creative, but they're paying her a gob of money that she wasn't going to get here. People are taking the opportunity to go elsewhere because they know they can, so that affects wages in a way that we don't see. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. You could tweet at me. Somebody just texted in and said, I like Bernie, but the heart attack thing scares me. It does. It does. So if you guys didn't hear, Bernie Sanders, doctors confirmed that he did have a heart attack. And that is, for a lot of people at the age, what the demand and what the job is like, that feels like, that's probably too much. And I think the biggest benefit out of this is probably Elizabeth Warren. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. On average, 20 veterans a day commit suicide. You guys understand that? Our men and women are fighting, and they're going out and they're doing everything they can, and they're coming back, and their life is a struggle. And it's sad. Something can change lives, though, and that's Wounded Paw Project. People ask me all the time, okay, so I hear you talk about this, and it's amazing. I said it is. And what they do is they go and rescue dogs that are essentially done for. They're going to be put to sleep. And they said, we're here to dispel the rumor and the belief that you just can't do anything with these shelter dogs. Instead, what they do is they go and they rescue these dogs and they take them from shelter dogs to service dogs. And it is amazing. It's so incredible what they do. Because our first responders and our veterans, when they get a dog and they see what is there for them, it changes everything. And the spark, it's incredible. And you got to check it out. Go to woundedpawproject.org and check it out. Check out the video with Channing Tatum. See the animals they're working with right now. They got Daisy. It is such an amazing thing, and you're going to love it. They need your help, though. Extra car, vehicle, truck, whatever you have. It's a great tax-deductible gift, and it is a vehicle for change. They also take cash. But go now. See what they're doing. See how they're working. See how you can become a part of it. They're always saying it's saving a paw to save a life, and it is incredible. To learn more about donating your vehicle to Wounded Paw Project, call 844-678-4PAW. That's 844-678-4729 or woundedpawproject.org. Woundedpawproject.org. Chad Benson Show.
You go, boy.
This isn't about right or left. This is just about right and wrong.
Right you are, Chad. The Chad Benson Show.
They basically have to apply. They are part of a class action suit, or various claimants who are part of attorneys' suits against MGM Resorts. Now, it started in such a weird way because obviously many people thought that MGM and its hotel, the Mandalay Bay, would be liable since Stephen Paddock, the shooter, brought in 10 high-powered rifles, thousands of rounds of ammunition right through the front door of the hotel, past a sign, I might add, that says no firearms allowed.
That didn't stop him? Producer Phil, did you know that didn't stop him? Did you hear?
Apparently it did not stop him, Chad.
Oh! I still find it weird that MGM's got to pay out all this money. So a guy came into your hotel. He went upstairs. He spent a few days there. He didn't bring 20 things up at once. Apparently did it over a few day period. So he does this. And again, awful, horrible. Then he kills a bunch of people from your room at the hotel. And you guys are responsible for it. Are you responsible for everything? You wonder why stuff's so expensive. I talked about this earlier, and I got a flood of people going, yeah, I know it's weird. And the way that they do it is very sterile in how they're going to dole out this money. It works like this. Depending who you are or were, how long you had to live, the kind of salary that you were making in the career that you were in, and where you would go salary-wise, they will pay you out for that. If you're 35 and you're a doctor and you're making $200,000 a year, and they project out, said that you're going to work for the next 30 years, you will get that kind of money. If you're injured and you can no longer work, it's very sterile the way that they do this. And I don't know how they're going to do it for pain and suffering. I don't know how they're going to do it for emotional trauma. But that's kind of the way they do it. Just like now, if you lose your finger at work, they've got a formula for that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Mark Hammrick, the guy with the dulcet tones, is going to join us straight ahead from the magical world of Bankrate.com. We're going to talk about the economy. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it indifferent? Where are we headed? And what's the fourth quarter look like? Straight ahead, Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
You're seeing a really optimistic jobs picture.
That right there is Larry Kudlow talking about jobs. That's what he does. He talks about the economy, comes out there, does those kind of things. Good, bad, indifferent. We talk jobs every month. We talk the economy every month. Joining us now is Mark Hammrick from Bankrate.com. And let's first and foremost look at the numbers. What do we have to have, like 95,000? And anything above that is, okay, we're doing all right. And this was like a B minus kind of report?
Yeah, I think for this point of the economic expansion, Chad, I think, this is a pretty good-looking report. But it's also like we set ourselves up for almost an expectation of failure this week on this report because we had two earlier readings coming from the nation's supply management executives, the people that are working the supply chains, basically getting goods from point A to point B. And both for services, and I should say goods and services, and both for goods and services, those were disappointing readings. For manufacturing, it showed a second straight month of contraction. So that's, zero growth, basically a minus sign. And in employment within services, within that earlier reading, that was barely above flat. So coming into this, I think fingers were crossed that better be on guard for disappointment. So to the extent that we, first of all, got an unemployment rate down to a 50-year low of 3.5%, that was certainly a positive surprise. And then just the fact that we essentially matched the consensus, coming in at 136,000 jobs added, I think that, we're breathing the proverbial sigh of relief today.
So, I look at the numbers and, the manufacturing, because it's purchase, it's orders, there's things that are on that look at. There's a lot of ways to look at it. This week I was talking to Congressman David Schweikert, he's more of the economic nerd. We always talk about stuff like that. He's like, look, I'm a numbers guy, so I'm on all the economic panels, a lot of these things. He says, we look at one of these things, which is the orders, but then we also look at the purchasing side. And when you look at manufacturing, the supply side of it, they were purchasing more for this upcoming month, and it looks like, it's a 5-month jump there. So it's not as awful as it looks in some cases. But, yeah, you can definitely feel that there is a slowdown in manufacturing.
Well, net export orders were remarkably low in that report, which means that for manufacturers, their business from overseas is really weak. So, I don't think that there's really a good way to put much positive on what's happening in manufacturing right now. And the other part, Chad, which I think is often overlooked because, frankly, farmers don't have people, sort of breathing fire in Washington or elsewhere advocating in their behalf. Agriculture is hurting because of what's happening with trade, and it's also having an impact on transportation because you have to have transportation to get either factory goods or farm goods, the food that our farmers grow, from point A to point B. So these are significant. That ends up being about 15% of the nation's GDP in total, meaning manufacturing and agriculture. So that's no small piece. But just back to the jobs report, I think it's an interesting time because, our employment year over year is growing at a rate that's about a third less this time last year. But that's to be expected, right? Because, the unemployment rate is at this sort of cycle low. Remains to be seen whether we can go lower from here, and it certainly is possible. And there's a combination of things going on. Obviously, there is an issue of shortage of well-qualified workers, particularly small business has an issue with that. But we also saw, for example, a reduction in employment in certain sectors, and we know that, for example, retail is hurting there. We had an 8th straight month of job losses as reported within this report. And also earlier in the supply managers report this week, in the services sector alone, we saw that education, the financial sector, professional, scientific, and technical services, as well as wholesale trade, all reducing jobs. So it's not just a manufacturing thing.
Talking to Mark Hammrick, Bankrate.com, as we discuss the economy. Let's talk about trade, because that is obviously a big thing. And, the focus of the world is on what's going on between us and China. And we focus on us because obviously this is where we are, but there's another player, and this is in China. What's it look like right there? Because you hear mixed things. To me, I think China's willing to go as long as they possibly can, but she has to look around and say, all right, I've got to figure something out, because it does look like they're slowing down, and it does look like they're losing some jobs.
Sure. No, we don't necessarily have a high degree of confidence on the numbers we get out of China because obviously they don't have the same incentives for transparency and truth that we have in the U.S. So, we have different standards, right? Different systems, different forms of government. But I think it's widely understood that China's economy is slowing. And for China, the risk there is to some degree parallel to what's been happening in Hong Kong because, it's widely thought that the worst thing that could possibly happen for the Chinese government would be that if they do not have sufficient growth, then you have a problem with maintaining civil order. And, at that point, then you don't know what's going to happen. So, but China has tools at its disposal that also don't quite work the same way in the United States. So, President Xi in China essentially can advocate for, monetary policy moves or whatever else they might be, and they don't have a system of checks and balances in their country like we believe we have in the United States. We have a separation of our central bank, much to the chagrin of the president, from the administrative or the executive branch. So it's not quite as efficient a system, you might say, in the U.S. in terms of governance, but I still like our system better.
Talking to Mark Hammrick, Bankrate.com, as we talk about the economy. So some sectors struggling. There's got to be some sectors that are rocking and rolling, Mark. Somebody's got to be doing something because we did add some jobs. And what sectors are growing and who's getting those jobs? Who's taking those jobs? Is it new high? Is it new to the workforce? Is it people that are, coming back to the workforce?
Well, we did not have an increase in labor force participation within this report, and that's the percentage of people that are either looking or working for work. So we have had some instances in the past where we've had indications that people got back into the workforce, and in some cases those could be retirees, those could be women who were sidelined because they were caring for a child or an ailing family member. As we look at sectors within the report, healthcare and social assistance had 41,000 jobs. Temporary help had 10,000. That was fewer than the previous month, but that's sometimes an area to watch because if you see that growing, that could be an indication that essentially there is a spurt in demand for new workers. Overall, you had 114,000 jobs in the private sector added, and you had 22,000 in government, 46,000 in government in the previous month of August, and we know that we're gearing up for hundreds of thousands of workers being added, at least on a temporary basis, for the 2020 census.
Let's look forward, because here we go. We're moving forward. We're into the fourth quarter. It's holidays. I mean, you're going around, and you're starting to see it. Halloween's been out for like 3-4 weeks already, and I'm already starting to see Christmas stuff slowly pop up. Fourth quarter's big. What's your sense? What are you feeling when you look at the economic indicators as far as, especially when it comes to retail, that we're heading into this fourth quarter for small business and retail?
Well, first of all, one of the headlines I didn't mention at the outset, and I should probably bring that back around, is, news of the recession has been put on the back burner, right? So we know that there will be one because there is a business cycle, but for now, we don't have one. So that's part of the good news out of this report. On retail, seasonal hiring's been falling over the previous number of years, and I think a big part of that is, of course, the transition from brick and mortar to online. And many retailers are just having to operate in a leaner, meaner sense because that's the world in which they exist these days. So I would not be looking for a big surge in retail employment, particularly when we're coming off 8 straight months of job losses as reported by the Labor Department on retail. But that's okay. I mean, those jobs will be made up somewhere else. We continue to have growth in leisure and hospitality as people seem to favor buying experiences, including dining, going out, seeing movies, seeing concerts, and obviously to some degree travel, and those jobs are still very much in demand. So it may be that you're going to have to shift around a little bit on the kind of jobs you have.
Talking to Mark Hammrick, Bankrate.com. All right, Mark, the political side of thing is real, too, because as we all know, and I try to explain this on the show, I try to keep it simple, stupid, because I think it's easy. The stock market, it enjoys stability. Right now, the political unrest, you can't ignore it as part of the economy. You've got the impeachment proceedings slowly but surely happening, heading to potentially a vote, which will, of course, be interesting. How does that play into the economic forecast? Because people are, investors in particular, looking around and they're saying, "Oh, wait, where are we going? What's happening? And how much is this going to have an effect when it comes to the marketplace and to potentially the economy itself?"
Well, you can count me among those that are surprised to the extent that the market has remained as resilient as it has in the face of the turbulence within the Washington climate and the broader political climate. I was just speaking to an economist from London yesterday, who was visiting Washington, and we talked about the fact that you have uncertainty in the UK with the Brexit situation. The expectation there is they're going to continue to kick that can down the road. One of the primary things that's been weighing on business confidence is the lack of clarity with respect to the outlook, and a big part of that is the trade and tariffs issue. So now you have the situation with respect to leaving aside whichever tribe one may or may not affiliate themselves with respect to the current, basically Trump versus the Democrat situation. Leaving that aside, you have to admit that there's a great deal of uncertainty facing sort of where Washington goes from here, because I think that probably the biggest group of people is those who are sort of fed up with the status quo. We just don't know where they're going to go with that, basically November of 2020. Will Joe Biden be the nominee, where the polling indicates that he's in the best position to defeat the president? Does that lend stability to the outlook? Is it Elizabeth Warren, who's probably a much better debater than Biden, and obviously younger, and frankly probably in better mental and physical shape than he is? Many people are fearful that she is too much of an extremist on the progressive side, but she might well be the better solution from those that are fed up with the current establishment. So I think the safe bet right now is that we don't know what's going to happen, and that doesn't help the business environment with respect to clarity on the outlook.
It's crazy, man. It is absolutely crazy. We love having you on to explain it all to us. It is going to be an interesting, wild ride, especially inside of the marketplace, but also what happens in the marketplace based on it. Appreciate you always coming on. Mark Hammrick, bankrate.com.
Good to be with you, Chad. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, man. Have a good weekend. We'll talk to you soon. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter, ChadBenson. The market likes stability, period, case closed. They do. It likes stability. It likes to know what's coming. It doesn't want chaos. It doesn't want anything like that. It just likes to know, hey, this is the map. Here we're going. This is what's going to happen. What's around the corner. These are the things it's looking for. And right now, I'm surprised that the marketplace is as steady as it is, even though you've seen a bit of a drop. It's still holding steady. What will happen when there's a formal impeachment, if and when that comes, we'll see. But it will play into it for sure. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Experiencing separation anxiety? That's dumb. Check out Chad 24/7 at his website, ChadBensonShow.com, and on iTunes, free. The Chad Benson Show. Never feel lonely again.
I love having Mark on. His voice is his dulcet tones just make the day a lot better. Well, interesting. I like it. Where we're headed, the economy. I think it's going to be okay for a bit, but it is coming. I want people to understand that. It's coming. When will it get here? Don't know. And how bad will it be? Again, don't know. But right now, people strike while the iron's hot.
When 21-year-old DeAndre Somerville overslept, missed jury duty, and the court sent police to the home where he lives with his grandparents, he decided to go with them wearing his work uniform so the judge wouldn't think,
oh, he's just another black boy out here doing something he's not supposed to be doing.
But it didn't work. Judge John Kastranakis sent him to jail for 10 days, ordered 150 hours of community service, and a $223 fine. Somerville told WPTV,
after going through that, it's like my life will never be the same again.
For missing jury duty, the 21-year-old who'd never been arrested now has a criminal record.
That sucks. Right? You got to do, and here's, when I was in California, I missed jury duty, but I had moved to another state. I was no longer in California. I had sent. No longer live at this address. I do not live in your state. And you just never hear from him again. And you're just like, And it's so weird, too, because I'm sure everybody, maybe you're that person. It's like, somebody's like, I've never been called for jury duty. And then there's other people's like, this person's been called like 5 times. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's weird. It is. Very weird. 5 times, 3 times. And you go. Have you ever done jury duty, Phil? Have you actually done jury duty or just gone and sat down there?
I never even got that far. They never call me.
See? They don't call him. Like, he's not even going to pay attention. We know this guy. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us. Speaking of juries and judges and whatnot, SCOTUS is gathering up the cases they're going to be listening to.
The Supreme Court has agreed to hear at least 40 cases this term, including 3 that ask whether an employee can be fired for being gay or transgender. Part of the Civil Rights Act prohibits employment discrimination on the basis of sex, but the employers, backed by the Trump administration, argued sex does not necessarily cover sexual orientation. The court will also decide whether President Trump acted lawfully when he ended protections for young immigrants, and whether New York City can prohibit licensed gun owners from taking their firearms outside city limits. The first time in nearly a decade, the justices will consider a gun rights case.
And they're going to look at the abortion case, too. So there's several things that they're going to be looking at. Some of them controversial. A lot of stuff you're going to hear is going to be not controversial. And that's why when you look at the 2020 election, you got to think about this for just a second. And I've said it over and over again. Trump's legacy. People will talk chaos, which absolutely should. People talk craziness, overhype, bad language. He's a xenophobe. He's all of these things. But if he wins another election and the Republicans hold on to the Senate, he's probably going to get 2, maybe 3 judges. That is changing the course of so many things. And then think about all of the other judges below that, the federal judges, we're talking about changing judges and everything across the board. And in the end, while they're co-equal branches, we all know that the law is where everything heads to, and it has the final say in so many things. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Your Twitter. You can tweet at me. People keep going, are you going to go see the Joker? I am not. Again, Jack does not want to see the Joker because it is not that kind of movie for a kid, even though it's a movie. Somebody said, you're really not going to take him to see it? I'm like, no, he's 9. I don't think this is his kind of film. This isn't old school Batman. New school. Dirtier, grittier, right? Drama. Ugh. That's too much for him. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Hello, everybody. We're in Las Vegas. I just got out of the hospital a few hours ago, and I'm feeling so much better. I just want to thank all of you for the love and warm wishes that you sent to me. See you soon on the campaign trail.
Thank you all so much.
That right there was Bernie Sanders and his wife. He was released from the hospital today, and the doctors confirmed that it was a heart attack. Couple stents put in, but it was a heart attack, and age and combine that with a health scare does not make for a good campaign, right? It doesn't. People were asking me today, do you think he's done? I'm like, well, I think he's done. I think the news itself is going to worry people. He looks good. So funny. Producer Anthony's like, you think he got a haircut? Looks like he lost some weight. Yeah. It's the age thing. And he doesn't look sick. It's still a situation that is going to scare people. And I was trying to figure out, like, because one of our reporters that's here inside the studio, she's like, isn't that a HIPAA violation? I said, well, here's the thing. Bernie probably thought, I got to get in front of this, right? I have to get in front of this situation because too many people know he's in the hospital. Too many people worked on him in the hospital. And there's too many people out there whose mouths can't keep shut. And because of that, he's better get out in front of it. Probably told his doctors, look, tell him what it is. Say it wasn't anything. It wasn't, a widowmaker. It wasn't this thing that was going to go. It was a, infarction, and we took care of it, and I'm fine. So you can control the narrative. Because what you can't control is the fact that he's, 78 years old? He was born September 8th. So if he was to win, and he's sworn in next year, he'll be 82 by the time he has a chance at the next one. If he won, he'd be 86 years old if he did 2 terms. It is a situation where you better control this. You better figure out what you do to control this, because people are going to ask questions. You just raised a ton of money. Doesn't look like you're going anywhere. But now you have to overcome something that has nothing to do with crazy socialist policies, that has nothing to do with a lot of the other stuff. It is all to do with the fact that some people have been asking questions about his age long before this, and the ages of some of the other candidates. And this is something that is going to be seen as a negative. And those people that are sitting there that are voting Democrat but haven't made a decision, they're looking and they're thinking, Biden, Bernie, maybe Warren, Biden has been dragged into this thing right now. And I've got questions about his kid too. But now Bernie with this. And so Elizabeth, I think, stands to gain the most out of this. Fair or not, that's the reality of it.
I'm worried that he gets so unhinged with a year left to go in this administration, he does something really, really, really stupid in terms of our international interests.
That right there was a guy that you might know as Joe Biden, Uncle Joe, Sleepy Joe, whatever people want to call him. He was not happy today about a lot of stuff that was going on. And he's pissed, about all the stuff with his kid and impeachment it's coming. We know it. Everybody know it. In fact, odds makers. So here are the odds for impeachment. All right. According to bookies globally. So avoiding impeachment is minus 500. Right. So avoiding it. It's coming now. Yes, minus 150. No, plus 115. The odds are ratcheting up. In saying that, though, the presidential odds look like this. Your buddy Tom Steyer, Phil?
Yeah.
Plus 20,000. Plus 20,000.
Oh.
He and Marianne Williamson are tied.
He needs money just to keep sending me email.
No doubt. Amy Klobuchar, plus 12,500. Julian Castro and Cory Booker, plus 10,000. Beto, who just yesterday, he had a flu shot? God. And he live streamed it. Anthony's he looks scared. He's plus 7,500. Tulsi, plus 6,000. Kamala, plus 3,300. Buttigieg, plus 2,200. Bernie Sanders, plus 1,800. Here's something for you. These are the odds. Andrew Yang, plus 1,500. Yang is in 4th place. Joe Biden, plus 650. Elizabeth Warren, plus 275. Donald Trump, plus 120. He's still the leader. Do they have anything? Impeachment is coming. We know what it's going to be, but he's probably, unless there's something just insane, right? So they're subpoenaing the White House. They're also asking Pence for a bunch of documents on the Ukraine. So for all of that stuff, unless there's something that is just so egregious, so appalling, I'll use the words of our pal Mitt Romney, unless something is just so absolutely cannot explain it away, cannot make it political, and just that's the way he talks. But it was, and you can convince, even though the polls now, more and more polls, Ipso poll, CNN poll, more and more polls are starting to support impeachment. It doesn't mean that the Senate is going to do anything. And people say, well, what is impeachment? How does it work? So the House will vote. They need a simple majority, right? So if you know, all you need, if you got 11, you just need a 6. Yeah, and there you go, right? 6, away we go. But when you go down, you're going to need 2/3. You're going to need 67% or 67. You're going to need 20 Republican senators to switch. So the House itself is going to do its due diligence. They're going to go and they're going to scour and they're going to pick things apart and they're going to look and they're going to investigate. And it's kind of like it's a prosecutor deciding whether or not they think they should prosecute the case. It doesn't mean you're guilty. It doesn't mean you're innocent, but they're going to present it and say, we believe that you should prosecute this case. Then it goes down. Then it goes up to Congress. The Senate. The Senate is the judge. They're the juries. And for lack of a better term, they're the executioners if need be. They hear the cases. Mitch controls it. The Republicans have it. You need 67. I don't think they're going to get that. So what does that mean? You tried, you failed. If Trump is smart, he's going to get his ass out there every single day, and he's going to talk about jobs. He's going to talk about America and where we're going. He's going to talk about immigration. He's talking about all the stuff he's doing for you and you and you and everybody, and how hard he's working for the people, because that is the roadmap that Bill Clinton left him. Compartmentalize. You don't need to answer every question. You don't need to fight with anybody. Smile. Say, look, you know what? We got people handling that. I've got the best people handling that. I didn't think I did anything wrong. I know a lot of people do. I talk a lot. I say a lot of things, but the reality is that's over there. I'm working for the people. I'm out there for the people. I'm out there fighting for cheaper prescriptions. I'm trying to fix healthcare. I'm trying to fix the immigration problem. I'm trying to do these things. And I'm trying to make sure that our economy stays red hot, all the while I'm at the same time. Think about this. I'm fighting for you, and I'm also fighting against China when it comes to trade. I'm also fighting against China when it comes to trade and the battle that's going on there, because somebody's got to do it, because nobody has before. I'm working for you. Don't think you will, but he should. Because that's what Bill Clinton did. That's the roadmap he left him. Do this. Here's the roadmap. Tell the people that's going on over there, but I'm working for you. Look at the camera. Say, I'm out there busting my butt for you. They're doing all these things over there. I don't really care what they're doing. They're inside the Beltway. I am out here fighting for you. That is important to them. What's important is what I do for you and the country. Go from there. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Finally, a college sentence that feels like it's a college sentence for that scam. And it's a winemaker.
Augustin Huneeus was sentenced to 5 months in prison, the toughest sentence yet imposed in connection with the admission scam. Huneeus was the only parent to participate in both parts of the scam. He pleaded guilty to paying to inflate his daughter's SAT score and to faking his daughter's athletic credentials so she could enter USC as a water polo recruit. Ultimately, though, his daughter was not admitted because Huneeus was arrested.
Well, there you go. There you go. A water polo recruit. It's just so, God, I couldn't even imagine that. I could not imagine going and trying to pay off somebody to get my son a scholarship based on a sport that he does or doesn't play. And he wouldn't have got a scholarship based on that. I cannot imagine that. I just find it so bizarre. Aunt Becky, Massimo, they're coming. We'll see what that's like. I still think we should look at them and say, this is what we're going to do with you. The fine is whatever you paid. You paid $100,000 to get him in. You're going to pay $100,000 to help kids in the inner city. You're going to go in there. You're going to help them. You're going to talk about how you became a success. You're going to do some of these things. That's what's going to happen. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Somebody asked me yesterday at lunch, how good are those Raycons? And I said, good enough that my son wants them all the time. Tries to steal them every chance he gets. I got him some, but I'm not telling him that. They're amazing. Right in your ear. They're small. There's no dangling wires. There's no stems. You just put them right in your ear, and away you go. The audio quality is unbelievable. Kills the noise outside. You hear everything. It is absolutely amazing. And they're half the price of other premium wireless earbuds in the market. It is absolutely amazing. Company was co-founded by Ray J. Celebrities like Snoop Dogg are obsessed with them. You will be too. Unlike some of your other wireless options, these are stylish, discreet, and again, the sound. They're built for the sound. They're not built to match up with something as far as like they came with this phone or that. No, it's built for sound. They're awesome. Plus, not only the half the price, you're going to save on top of that. How do you do it? Simple. Go to buyraycon.com/Chad. You're going to save 15% off your order. That's buyraycon.com/Chad. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Save, and when you get them, just tell me, man, these things are amazing. That's it. Shoot me an email. Yeah, right there. That's all I ask. What's trending straight ahead? Chad Benson Show.
I, you, he, she, it. Lucy is a girl.
Point of personal privilege. Please do not use gendered language to address everyone.
Shut up, boo. Ain't nobody got time for this.
This is the Chad Benson Show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? Let's see what's trending, baby. Take a look at the Twitter. All right, Twitter. The Rock, he's trending. What did he do? All right. Oh, is it SmackDown, right? Can you hear what The Rock is? Can you smell what The Rock is cooking? Why would you hear what The Rock is cooking? Unless it's crackling and popping, I guess, like fajitas. Maybe. Protect Terrence, was it Terrence Williams? Terrence K. Williams? We've had him on the show. Apparently they want to get rid of him on the old Twitter. Diane Carroll passed away today, 84, I believe. Marco Rubio. YouTube Andrew Yang. Hashtag Eat the Children. And the Joker movie is trending still, which will be interesting. See how that goes. The Joker. The Joker. I'm interested to see it. And I just don't know how interested I am. And everybody I know that saw it, and I think the problem with something like The Joker is everybody who has seen it or has gone to see it, it's been made out to be it's so amazing, it's so incredible. And maybe it's not all that that's cracked up to be, or when you build something up like that, does it make it to the point where you feel like it is, it's not going to live up to the hype? I don't know. What else is trending? Astros, they won today, right? Or are they playing tonight? I don't know. Baseball. Is this still going on? Chad, Rick Perry's trending. Boy Meets World because of that thing with that girl. You know what I'm talking about, right? Adam's Family Values. Trending. Don't know why. Those things are trending. As well as Bernie Sanders and myocardial infarction. What it is. Of course, Bernie, the doctors have confirmed, have suffered a heart attack. And people are trying to figure out, okay, what exactly is that? How could, is that going to affect him? It is going to affect him. I mean, even if he's 100% fine, it doesn't matter because the damage in and itself was done in a lot of ways because of people who already were cautious about his age. 78. And then you have a heart attack. requires a medical diagnosis. It's very common, 3 million cases a year, treatable by a medical professional. Short-term resolves within a few days or weeks. And they put the stent in. And he, but that is trending because people are trying to figure out. They're trying to say, oh, my God, is this something that's 78? That's a lot of people worry about stuff like that. I get it. And I think Elizabeth Warren is the one who's going to gain off of this. I do think, no matter what anybody says, right, that Biden is really hurt by this and because there is a perception out there that, hold on a second, because I've talked to a few people, one of my friends who's uber progressive, like he's past liberal Democrat a long time ago. He says, I do find it weird about this whole thing, So we'll see. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. This is the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Computer.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
I don't care about politics. Politics, as I think I made clear, and yesterday somebody asked me a question and I gave an answer, but always in the form of corruption. What I want to do, and I think I have an obligation to do it, probably a duty to do it, corruption. We are looking for corruption.
And if it happens to be all of my political opponents, then so be it. Like, great. Oh, my God. That is just... Here we go. Be prepared, people. That's all I want to tell you. Be prepared. This is what you're going to hear moving forward over and over again. This is what you're going to hear over and over again. It's a battle that isn't going anywhere anytime soon. They're going to fight this thing in the public because we're the ones who will decide. It is a political thing. They feel that they've got to impeach him. They just need to find the crime. My big fear, I was talking to somebody who's a Democratic pollster last night, and he said, my fear is moving forward, this is what's going to happen all the time. It's no longer even going to be blocking bills or fighting and arguing. It's just going to be about, can I get rid of you now? That is not something we want. But for saying all that, who gives a rat's ass at this point in time? I mean, honestly. Because I don't feel the rumblings. Now here's the thing. People who are in industries where you deal a little bit more with politics, they feel this is more serious and easy to understand comparatively to what we saw with Russia, because Russia got convoluted and it was just we're trying to connect dots and stuff like that. They feel there's a lot more there and potential legs, but none of it matters outside of the Beltway at this point in time. It just doesn't. We're all doing our own things, right? We got stuff going on, right? You're doing this, I'm doing that. I'm super excited. Got to hang out with Jack this weekend. We got a lot of stuff going on. That is a lot of what's taking place. It feels like it's big. It feels like because it's on the news 24/7. But the reality is we're doing other things, right? Yesterday, I'm at lunch with a big radio guy. And he goes, what do you listen to? What's your thing? What do you do? Because I do a ton of radio. And I said, well, in the mornings when I'm driving in, I said, I listen to Nick Wright and Chris Carter. He's like, yeah. I go, I don't do any of that other stuff. I said, I and I'll listen to the soccer channel. But outside of that, that's kind of what I'm doing. Because it's not imperative. There's in this, because you've heard about, and I think part of the problem is for the Democrats, is you've heard about this for so long. You've heard about it over and over. You've heard about all of these things, and it seems never ending, that if this was the first thing and it had been 2.5 years and, there'd been the usual fighting in politics, maybe more people would be like, what? But because it's been going on so long, people are like, I looked over there before and I fool me once. Fool me twice, shame on me. And I think that's where we are. For a lot of people, they're just kind of like, yeah, you know what? Nah. We're gonna do our own thing. And if you guys get to that point where you think that you've got something and you're going to impeach, and then there's going to be the big spectacle of the trial of the century, of this century, but not last century, because last century's passed, but this is a new century. We're going to do this, and this is what's going to happen, and you've got everything that you think you're ready for. Let us know then. Till then, I got soccer practice. I got band practice. I got a date with my wife. I got a date with my husband. I've got whatever it is. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Imagine this, a math question that makes somebody uncomfortable.
It was the last thing Naomi Pacheco expected to see on her fourth grader's homework.
Such an irresponsible way to teach children how to do math.
A math problem, but it wasn't comparing apples and oranges.
It was comparing girls' weight. It says the table to the right shows the weight of 3 grade 4 students. How much heavier is Isabel than the lightest student?
Naomi's daughter Rhythm saw an issue.
So I thought it was offensive.
So, she was offensive. It was offensive, right? Because they were comparing girls' weights. I can't. This is another one of those things where you're like, somebody thought like this was something good to put in this world. Nobody looked and said, maybe height. We could do height, right? We can't do weight. Yeah, but height's harder. Oh, okay. Well, we could do. We can do apples and oranges. We can do bears, right? We can do fish, but you can't do fat girl, medium girl, thin girl. Can't do that.
Girls shouldn't be comparing each other, and I know it was a math problem, but I didn't think that was really okay.
Yeah, she wrote on there too. She wrote on, I am not doing this. I will not write. And it was rude. She wrote right on there.
She chose not to answer the question.
Well, she circled it and she said, what? This is offensive. Sorry, I won't write this. It's rude.
Instead, she wrote her teacher a letter.
Don't want to be rude, but I think that math problem wasn't very nice. I thought that was judging people's weight.
Her teacher was so responsive and spoke to her about it.
Yeah. And again, we could joke about the feelings, right? Like Babylon Bee has a great headline today. His math problems have, the answer has been replaced with feelings. But that's just, to me, it's just common sense. Like if I'm a teacher and I see that, I'm like, there's no way I'm getting in trouble for something I didn't put on here because it's probably some stupid thing that's, citywide, statewide, whatever. It's no way. It's just not happening. Not happening. It's not going to do it. Period. Case closed in the story. I'm not going to do this. This is so ridiculous. This is going to get me in trouble. Right? Now, here's the thing. Juxtapose that with what if it was a guy. So it was a fat guy, or a larger guy, a person who nutritionally overachieves, a average guy, and then a thin guy. Would it be different because of the comparison? The girl thing? It's the common sense thing. I read some of these things that people put out there, like this was on a test, and you're like, who didn't look that up? Right? Who didn't say this is a bad idea? That is, to me, that's a test for the teachers, right? That is a test for the teachers. Teachers, here's your test. Do not allow stupid things to go on tests that will be socially attacked by everybody, that will end up and go viral, and you'll get in trouble. Just do not do it. Be smart about it. Say, I'm not going to do that. Black it out, just and go from there. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Speaking of black it out, Black Friday is not too far away. So we got, if I'm correct, what is it, the 21st or 28th? It's 28th next month is, can you believe that? It's already Thanksgiving. So the 29th will be Black Friday. Stores are already getting ready, but some stores are saying, maybe not this year.
At least a dozen retail chains say they are staying closed Thanksgiving Day. Even more are expected to follow suit. BestBlackFriday.com is putting a list together for all the open and closed stores on the holiday. Stores staying closed include Academy Sports, Ace Hardware, Costco, Hobby Lobby, Home Goods, Petco, Steinmart, and more. Right now, most major retailers are not releasing their plans for Black Friday, but they typically open later on Thanksgiving Day.
I've done Black Friday on numerous occasions. I find it fun. I do. I go out there, I get in the Christmas spirit, I buy stuff, I get good stuff, and I do a lot of other shopping. Because I enjoy the hustle and bustle of this is my favorite time of year. You got football's on and Halloween. I'm already decorating my office and the house, and the kids are getting everything ready, and Jack's super excited. He's got his costume, and he's got a big party, and there's all. I love that, and Thanksgiving's always great too. And then I love Christmas, and I'll get out in the hustle and bustle. I will. It's going to be interesting because as we look at the job situation and where we're headed, and you look at retail, you look at all of these things that are taking place right now in our economy, this is a big quarter for Trump. And I think it was Market Watch the other day. It said, ask the question. You promised 3, 4, 5, 6. Where's that growth? Where is it? Right? And I think this fourth quarter is going to be extremely important, not just for the retailers, but politically for Trump. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. Love hearing from you. Zip Recruiter. You know how hard it is. Speaking of jobs, you talk about jobs. It's amazing to see what's going on in the world of jobs when people are out there looking for just anything they can get their hands on as far as good employees. And they're fighting over people because right now it's an employee's marketplace. And you want the best, but you've got a specific need, and that's where ZipRecruiter comes in. ZipRecruiter is incredible. Check this out. Write down ZipRecruiter.com/Benson. What you do is you go there and you sign up. Boom, right? And you save that because you're going to free opportunity to post your job. When you do, automatically, 100 of the web's leading job boards. Doesn't stop there. The minute it goes out, they're going to start to use their powerful matching technology to scan thousands of resumes to find the people that you're looking for as far as the experience, right? They're going to invite them to apply to the job. They're going to do that. Then on top of that, they go a step further, and they're going to highlight the ones that are the best out of all of those. So you're going to get an amazing match. ZipRecruiter is so effective. 80% of employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. Right now, remember that thing I told you to write down, that exclusive website? Here it is again. ZipRecruiter.com/Benson. You can post your job for free. ZipRecruiter.com/BENSON. ZipRecruiter.com/Benson. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Chad Benson Show.
Don't let the Washington Beltway strangle you. This is where the exhausted majority comes to refuel, realign, and reevaluate. This is Chad Benson.
I used to think that
My life was a tragedy.
Nothing tragic about the Thursday night opening of Joker. The Joaquin Phoenix film had a record-breaking debut, pulling in $13.3 million. That's the best Thursday night ever in October, easily beating the previous champ, the $10 million, earned by last year's Venom. That means Joker should have no problem topping Venom's October opening weekend record of just over $80 million. This despite ramped-up security at theaters because of concerns over violence. The law enforcement says there are no specific or credible threats.
Yeah, it's just hype. That's it. Hype. It's going to do well. I don't know how good it is. This weekend, Jack and I have a big weekend of fun and football and goofing around. He's got a couple games tomorrow I'm going to go watch, and he's got his first girlfriend, so we're pretty excited about that. He's going to tell me about it. I was very excited about that. And he's like, he asked me a couple weeks ago, he's like, Daddy, do you want to see that? I said, Jack, I'm going to go see it. And it's probably not something you would like because this isn't geared toward him. It's rated R, and we've gone in this direction in entertainment, right? We're not camp anymore. Last year, Shazam came out, right? Was that what it was? Shazam, right? And it was fun. It was campy. It was old school campy. DC and Marvel, you look at their characters, what they're doing, right? And even now, you look at Marvel, which does it bigger usually. They're talking, okay, what are we going to do? How are we going to take this now? Which way are we going to go? Who's going to get this? Who's going to get the rated R here? It's Deadpool, and then you had Wolverine, and the Batman movies with Christian Bale. Everything got darker. They wanted it to be more gritty, and now we've gone to uber grit, right? We've gone to uber grittiness, and that's what this is. This is not only a mirror into what is today's society, incels, guys can't get dates, and virgin losers, people who aren't loved by the world, who are essentially cast outs. I mean, go look at the Suicide Squad, which still had a bit of camp in it, and it was PG-13, and there was a bit of cheese in it, but this isn't any of that. I mean, this is all about a guy who's essentially a loser. His mom dies, he's bitter, he's angry, he has no joy in his life, can't get a date kind of thing, and he thinks the world, he could be this, and the world laughs at him, so he's going to get revenge. When you see a lot of these shooters, you see a lot of these people out there, and that's what a lot of this is. Kind of like, Todd Phillips said, it's a mirror to the face of the world. That's what this is. We're holding up a mirror, and here is the mirror, and this is what it is. But the hype is, oh my God, people are going to comment, they're going to be shooting, and blah, blah, blah. It's a bunch of crap. It's a bunch of baloney. Everybody slow down. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Do love hearing from every single one of you. Of course, today, Trump out there talking, doing what Trump does.
When I speak to foreign leaders, I speak in an appropriate way. If you notice, they don't mention the call that I had with the president of Ukraine. They don't mention that because it was so good. The only time they mentioned it was when Adam Schiff made it up.
Adam Schiff made it up. It's all he does is make it up. It's just, I don't, at this point in time, I don't think there's anything that we don't already know. It's coming. The votes are there. Subpoenas are coming. The battle is on. You've got a few people that are breaking away against the president, but the reality is these are the people that have done it for a long time. It's the Romneys of the world. It's coming. It's not if, but when. And then we'll really get deeper into it as that goes. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet us. My Pillow is amazing. Going to love it right now. Up to 50% off everything. Mattress toppers, My Pillows, you name it, up to 50% off. The bed sheets, which are incredible. And, of course, the My Pillows themselves. It is simple and easy. You go to MyPillow.com, and you got to take advantage of this great discount. And to do so, you go to the radio listener special. You click on it. See the new specials they have. You can get up to 50% everything, including their body pillow for only $29.99. Bigger than a 50% saving. Normally, that was $89.99. So you're going to save huge right there. Make sure you type in my code, right? Benson, B-E-N-S-O, and type in that code right there. It is simple. It is easy. Get it today. Up to 50% off everything. 60-day money-back guarantee. A 10-year warranty. You're going to love it. 800-983-4975. 800-983-4975. Use code Benson or go to mypillow.com. Mypillow.com. Go to the radio listener special. Make sure you type in code Benson at Chad Benson Show. Twitter, ChadBenson. Have yourself a wonderful weekend. We'll do it again on Monday as always. Everybody, night-night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.